Welcome back, YouTubers, to another Good and Bad of the Week audio with us, the British Fist.
Ka-ching.
I am Mr. Parkin, and in this corner, you can't see him, but you can definitely hear him with his loudspeaker. It's the one and only NJ.
What's up?
Exactly, NJ. Make sure you guys subscribe up above as usual, like this video as usual, and put your comments and thoughts on anything that happened in wrestling, WWE, TNA, or possibly even ROH if you have any thoughts, down in that comment section below.
And make sure you contact us in the links in the description box below.
Yes, of course. And today we're going to be starting off with an announcement, which is a bit sudden for you guys. This next week is going to be our final Good and Bad of the Week audio. Now, the reason why we're going to stop doing this is because although me and NJ really do actually enjoy doing these, we've got to the point now where we're gonna try and do something a bit new, something a bit different, and I think it's about time we kind of moved on from what we're essentially sort of reviewing. We're doing 3 times during the week.
Good and Bad of the Week was good because it gave us the chance to add in information, gave us people a final video of the week.
Yeah.
We just thought there's other ideas, other things to talk about. We'll start doing them.
Yeah, and if you want to, guys, suggest some ideas to us down in the comment section below. We're thinking of sort of news ideas, other things like that, but we're going to try and sort something out so you guys can get another video maybe at the weekend with WrestleMania review series coming up too. So we're trying to just move on to something new. So,
but thank you very much for commenting our videos and continue to do so.
Yes, exactly. So the last Good and Bad of the Week will be next week. God, I'm going to get the tears out that week, aren't we?
Yeah, indeed.
So today, as usual, we're going to be discussing Raw, TNA, and SmackDown and how well we thought the shows or how badly the shows went. Let's start off with Raw then, shall we? So before we concentrate on this week's Raw, NJ, next week's Raw, the go-home show, is going to be the Slammies.
Yeah!
But why does it have to be on the go-home show when the whole focus should be on the pay-per-view?
That's true, because with the draft they do it the week after the pay-per-view, and then for some reason the Slammy the week before the pay-per-view. Doesn't make much sense there. And
another thing about this show is it reeked of last-minute writing and WWE panicking for their pay-per-view, didn't it?
It did, but it gave us matches for the pay-per-view, so it battled between good points and bad points.
Yeah, and this is the kind of stuff we'll be discussing throughout this audio. We opened up this week with a promo segment with John Cena, who isn't really involved in much lately, Del Rio and Ziggler, and also Miz. And we get the whole idea that these people are going to have matches against SmackDown superstars to see who is going to be involved in the main event at TLC.
Yeah, they all thought they all going to determine the champion. Like, Cena thinks he's going to be the champion going against The Rock, and the others just think that they deserve to be in the championship picture.
Yeah, we have Ziggler and Miz pot-shotting, which was quite funny. But it's all about John O'Night setting up matches throughout the night. The thing is, we had the WWE title decided pretty much in one night, the picture. And while I think this was kind of rushed, I do feel the main event title picture should really be sort of built up too slowly throughout the pay-per-view. At least we got something sorted tonight, because the first 2 weeks we had no pay-per-view mention at all, and we're getting a lot done in a short space of time, which WWE kind of had to do.
I do like the opening. It gave us a good opening of the rest of the night. It gave us the rest that we wanted to see, the main eventers involved.
Yeah, and although it went on a bit long, it set out the precedence of the evening, which is what the openers should do. So I'll give that a thumbs middle to thumbs up. The first match of the night, which in my opinion was probably the best booked segment of the night. We had Miz versus Randy Orton in the match, which would determine whether Miz would be in the WWE title match at TLC.
And the opponent he's going against, you really think, because you don't know the way Orton's booked, but it was not a bad match.
Yeah, it went about 4.5 minutes. You had Barrett interfering and causing a count out, so Miz gets the win. No one has to do a job. You had the Barrett-Orton storyline continuance, Miz going through to the main event at TLC. It was, to me, one of those things where simple booking was better booking, and this was probably the best segment of the night, in my opinion.
It definitely gave us the effectiveness of, one, the contract sign at the end, who's going to be in it, and then obviously the Wade Barrett involved with Orton, so it adds up more towards their feud and whatever.
Thumbs up segment from me.
Same here.
Probably one of the better segments of the night, in my opinion, in terms of booking anyway.
I liked it.
We get the announcement that Cena and Ryder are going to have a match as well in a social experiment later tonight. We'll get to that later.
I guess it's an experiment, yes.
Yes, it was an experiment that went wrong. We also have the Nash and Triple H match announced. There's a ladder match with a sledgehammer at the top. There's still pinfalls and submissions, though. What a stupid match to put these two in.
I'll say yes, Triple H is back. We're booked to be back. has a match against Nash. It's going to be a good match between those two. But the stipulation, I just don't like the idea. So badly idea.
Yeah, especially Nash in a ladder match. And no sign of Triple H tonight either, which is a bit disappointing.
No, they're going to rush him to the go-home show, build him up for the pay-per-view.
Yeah, Alberto Del Rio versus Daniel Bryan was our next qualifying match. And this, to me, is a massive, massive thumbs down. The match itself, they're trying to focus on Daniel Bryan's ribs. But they didn't focus on it nowhere near enough. At least on SmackDown, they did it for 6 minutes. But in this, Del Rio did it in 2 minutes. And it's just like, my God, how much do you want to bury your Money in the Bank winner? For fuck's sake.
The thing is, I do agree with that. Because you have Alberto and Daniel Bryan in matches before, so you can see how bad they've been booked against each other in the past. So replaying it this time, you weren't really going to expect much.
Yes, and we followed that up. There's a thumbs down segment. Why do it at the expense of Daniel Bryan? Why not the job? It was so much easier, so much better.
It would have been, yes.
Next was one of the worst segments of the night. Even the Tea Time guys were a bit bemuzzled about this one because they didn't turn up. Because they said to us, you guys should have a fucking opinion. And I'm like, well, we don't want to talk about this. We pay you to talk about it, and yet all of a sudden they're not talking about it. What the fuck's going on there?
It was really bad of them because, to be honest, with this match, the way it was done, the way you have Divas of Doom, who deserve a lot better, lose by getting rolled up by Kelly, and that was horrible. I really do not like that.
So you've got Beth Phoenix getting rolled up by Kelly. What the fuck's going on at the pay-per-view? This match lasted a minute. I just feel so sorry for Beth Phoenix and women like that. Women that actually have talent. They can only go out there for a minute to showcase their skills. It's so disappointing. The Divas division at the moment is at a real low.
It looks like the WWE concentrate more on the good-looking Divas. Like, you know, Kelly's made to look all good in that. And it's really disappointing.
In our main event, thumbs down segment. In our main event, we had John Cena versus Ryder. In my opinion, this is a social experiment gone wrong because no one really knew who to cheer for. And the Tampa Bay crowd sucked, didn't they? They gave Cena and Ryder no reaction tonight, apart from when the match actually got going.
Let's go, Ryder. Cena sucks!
Yeah, pretty much. You know, it seemed to me in this match as if Cena got a bit more reaction than Zack Ryder, but, you know, maybe that's just me. This wasn't even a bad match. I felt these two worked quite well in the ring together.
They did put on a 7 minutes match compared to the other matches we've had. Yeah. This match, I was surprised it got this long.
Yeah, and then you had the Rough Rider into an FU, which was kind of a nice spot, I thought, and Cena wins to go through to the title match. But then you have this whole tease of, you know, Zack Ryder's crying to John Cena saying, you stopped my opportunity. And then we have John Cena going backstage trying to get him another match.
So I'm just going to give it a thumbs down because, one, the match was stupid. It shouldn't take place. You've had the biggest company versus Ryder. Two baby faces. The opportunity was stupid. I didn't like it.
Cena's filler, isn't he, at the moment? And, you know, they're trying to advance Zack Ryder, trying to get him more popular. But Cena's filler. And with this whole Rock and Cena thing at WrestleMania, he's probably going to be filler until then.
That's true. I'm really thinking this was determining Ryder's chance for the US title. And to be honest, having against Cena, it was an obvious win there. Yeah,
so we get a backstage segment where Cena tells Laurinaitis that this boy deserves an opportunity. He's worked hard for this. And, you know, John Laurinaitis tells him to give up his shot. And he gives up his shot. And, you know, well played, I guess.
It was stupid. The match was pointless. The backstage segment... yes, it had to happen because obviously they had to think, oh no, we have to give Ryder
writing it last minute.
That was it.
Writing it on the fly. But the thing is, I didn't mind this segment. It's just what it led to. It led to a match between Zack Ryder and Mark Henry where John Cena came out. It was a no DQ match to start with. And this is where you can start telling that the writers were going, oh shit, we have to do something different because we booked this shit. And they try and make a big deal out of Mark Henry's injuries. But the bottom line is, Zack Ryder, who's barely even a mid-carder, is pinning your World Heavyweight Champion. And he gets a title shot. But the way they booked this whole Ryder thing was fucking stupid.
Having Ryder appear more than one time in the show, having Cena screw Mark Henry, I really thought this is not doing any justice for Mark Henry. It's got Ryder's match, but I thought this was a dumbed down segment and match.
Thumbs down in terms of booking the whole fucking main event and the whole hour main event and this segment. You know, and again, it just shows Cena's involved in filler at the moment, I guess. Kind of like Sheamus. The next match we got, I believe, was Nash versus Santino. This actually had some logic behind it because he did attack him last week, but it was always essentially going to be a squash, wasn't it? And Kevin Nash has got a match, I guess, now since it's been announced, even though it's a stupid stipulation. He did look pretty stiff in there, but I kind of expected to see Triple H to at least hype the match somewhat.
There was, in my opinion, there was times when Triple H could have came down, Nash had his back turned to the ramp, it could have done anything, but obviously this match was pointless. It didn't do much just for Nash, nothing for Triple H. So all I can say is that, yes, we got a match announced, but this part was just filler.
I don't know about you, NJ. I know you like Triple H, but I really don't give a crap about this feud anymore. It started a vengeance, and it's just lost so much steam. It's just especially with that stipulation.
The match itself would have been good, but the stipulation ruined it for me.
Yeah. Next, we had Dolph Ziggler versus Sheamus. This was the last match in determining a #1 contender. This went about 5 minutes. You had Zack Ryder coming out and distracting Ziggler, even though his music played. Why? To allow Sheamus to get the win. And I guess that makes sense, as Dolph Ziggler should really be involved in the US title match. Maybe, especially with Zack Ryder getting his title shot. I don't really want Ziggler in the main event yet.
What I see about this, though, that's a good point, but Sheamus not going to the pay-per-view, and he's winning on this show.
Yep.
Ziggler's lost another match. So, to be honest, as it's good points, because obviously Ziggler's not ready for the main event, but Sheamus has won a match on a match that he didn't really need to.
And again, Sheamus is another guy that's involved in filler, and it's unfortunate, isn't he, as he's one of the biggest babyfaces on SmackDown, and they can't even find a program for him. It's really disappointing. It's really stopping his push, in my opinion. It's really halting his push, so to speak. But at least we finally got a US title match announced. Give Ryder the belt.
To it, yeah.
Give Ryder the belt. You may as well. He's over now, so just do it. Main event of the evening: WWE title contract match. Signing even, not a match. So throughout the night, we had the announcement that it'll be Mark Henry and John Cena next week on Raw. Fantastic, great. Putting your champion against your biggest babyface is a real great way
to win.
Exactly. DQ it. Who gives a shit? And it's going to be a triple threat TLC match: Miz, Del Rio, and TM Punk. It seems like this whole time match is very rushed. To me, in my opinion, there's no real feud. I like the tension between Punk and Miz. That was good, but Del Rio looked a little bit out of place in this segment.
I think they were really concentrating on the really Punk's side because he's the champ.
Yeah.
Miz, who looks like a strong opponent going towards the championship.
Do it going into Royal Rumble, I feel.
Very true, that's the point. And you have Del Rio, who I think the WWE had paid him, but they seem to have lost it. Don't think he's that well booked or that well good of a wrestler, but whatever.
I think the problem with Del Rio is he just wasn't getting any heel reaction, in my opinion. But at the end of the segment, it was decent interaction between Punk and Miz, and you had Laurinaitis doing the whole John Morrison future endeavours and trying to get them all in a photo, and Punk not doing. So it was a good segment to hype up that main event, even though it was a bit rushed. The whole main event.
I will say the whole night has built up to this, so it had to be good. And to be honest, the whole fight at the end, breaking it down, I think it was a good way to finish it up.
Even though Punk came on top of both heels.
That was disappointing because obviously Miz had the whole, who's going to take up next? It could have been Punk, it could have been Del Rio, but it ended up being Punk on top.
Exactly. And do WWE have a new inductee to the Breakfast Club along with Triple H, Randy Orton and John Cena?
It looks like they're going to start to do that with him, yes.
All right, then. So we'll save our overall thoughts for the end. So I guess we'll go on to Tuesday's wrestling show, which is TNA Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, that.
So with this being the go-home show final to final resolution on Sunday, we expected all the feuds and everything that were going on to this pay-per-view to be featured tonight. We kind of didn't get it, but we'll go on to more about this and why this was kind of a disappointing go-home show later. We opened up the show with Sting that night. Him and Bobby Roode were down to the ring, and he's talking about apologising to Dixie Carter, really kind of developing this rude heel character, in my opinion.
Yeah, they do. I think with Dixie Carter being as important as she is to TNA, having the whole Bobby Roode and Dixie Carter thing actually does add more to Bobby Roode's character.
Which they needed to do, especially after the way they did his heel turn. They really needed to get the ball rolling with that heel turn. And I really think they have done well with the Bobby Roode heel gimmick, especially after he spit in her face.
Yeah, I think the more they do Bobby Roode, it's getting better each week.
Yeah, so a good opener. I mean, it's nice to see Roode involved in these openers, and so much better than what we got earlier in the year with the Immortal segment. It's a great. You always seem to get with TNA now a good way to open the show.
And you're opening with the right people now, which is decent to that.
Yes, and following this main event, following this opener, which I'll give a thumbs up. We got Samoa Joe versus Abyss. Now, before we go into this match, I think I said this in the review, but it's amazing how Samoa Joe at Turning Point 2009 was going after the Heavyweight Championship, and now he's filler for an Abyss Scott Steiner Buddy Ray feud, which no one cares about. Abyss is character's just fucked.
I know they're trying to rebuild his character, but again, Samoa Joe is a good person to go up against.
Yes.
But the match was kind of short, but I think it was mainly outcome, the aftermath, that actually meant something.
Yeah, I mean, would you rather have a Samoa Joe push or an Abyss push? Just preference.
Well, as much as I'm a fan of the monster gimmick, Samoa Joe should be back towards the main event.
Yes, sir, I feel that exact same thing. And it's a shame he's filler. We get an advert 1.5 minutes into the match, which kind of really didn't help this segment a lot. But after the match, which I didn't feel was that bad, he got like 5 minutes. That was a decent amount of time. You had Bully Ray and Steiner interfering to try and help Abyss win, to try and get them friends on their team. I just wondered why they're featuring this when it's not announced for the pay-per-view on a go-home show.
I guess this could be the reason they've done this. Maybe because it's going to be thrown as a last-minute match, and they had to do this before it's too late. But I don't know.
I don't know. Just the continuing development of Abyss's character is kind of annoying me because I just don't really think it's relevant, especially when you don't have Anderson on the show and you don't have the X Division and you don't have the TV title on the show. Just stupid.
No, true.
Next, we have a tag team segment. Building on what we got the other week, which is a D1 Pope #1 contendership. Crimson and Matt Morgan come out. They call out the tag champs. D1 talks about being a big-time player. You had them really putting over Crimson and Morgan, talking about they're going to bring their A game. And then you have Pope getting on the mic, actually trying to create tension between these two teams. It looks like they're kind of maybe turning him heel by what they made him say in this segment.
Well, the way I looked at this, D1 putting people over, thumbs up. Pope on mic, it was neat because you have to have both contenders having time on mic. So I guess with that part, thumbs up. I thought it was nicely done.
The only issue, I have 2 issues with this segment though. While it was a good segment for the tag title match, Crimson and Morgan got no mic time, which was a little bit disappointing. And while the brawl was very good, why do they have to get the freaking kids involved? This is fucking ridiculous. The focus should be on the tag team title, and you're focusing on this D1's kid thing, which has nothing to do with it, and is only going to spark a feud between D1 and Pope. What is the freaking point in having the kids help beat down Matt Morgan?
The way I look at this is, one, it could have just finished with the whole segment between the tag champs and the competitors. Yes, they bring the kids in. But I think, to be honest, they're doing the whole stupid, like the Garrett Bishop thing. They're building up these kids to become future TNA wrestlers.
And the thing is, there wasn't too many segments in the show tonight. Most of the segments got good time. It's just that TNA, in some of their segments, didn't feature the right storylines, we'll just put it that way. And this was one of those segments where it was good interaction, but there was a bit of a bad booking at the end with the whole kids thing, and it's annoying.
Really horrible booking, because Matt Morgan getting beaten down by 2 people that are not even wrestlers, and I thought it was horrible.
And the backstage segment after that, when you have them typing up a feud between them two probably, it's just stupid. I mean, no one gives a fucking shit.
No, they do not.
Mickey James versus Madison Rayne. You know, you laugh at that. This match went 5 minutes. I give this the thumbs up just based on the fact that you had Mickey James looking strong over Madison Rayne, who should be losing this match. You get Mickey James pinning clean, and Gail Kim appears on the ramp, and it's just another example of simple booking equaling better booking. For me, I thought this was a good segment to hype up the Knockouts match.
Mickey James appearing on the Garden Show, thumbs up. Madison Rayne being the opponent. Well, she is a heel and one on Karen Jarrett's side. Gail came at the end. I guess it was really effective with all 3 knockouts there. Yeah,
and the only problem is you had another knockout segment later on in the night, which could have gone to another. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. We've got a lot to say. Our main event. Was the our main event something pay-per-view related, MJ?
Oh, yes, no.
Was the our main event something we gave a shit about?
Oh, no, it won't.
Was the our main event something that's going to draw massive ratings in for TNA?
Well, they think it will, but no.
Was the our main event something that Eric Bischoff decided to put in because his son was involved?
Oh, yes.
Yes. So in our main event, we have Garrett Bischoff versus Gunner, which isn't involved at the pay-per-view, which no one cares about, which got more TV time and more hype than any other match on this show. Why is this an our main event when it's not even pay-per-view related, when the whole James Storm angle thing, that should have been the our main event. That was a great segment. Why was that not the our main event? And this will. It's so fucking pointless. Another example of TNA go-home shows featuring pointless stuff which is not going to be involved at the pay-per-view.
No, we don't really want to see this
Garrett
Bischoff thing, because it's really pointless. It's not leading anywhere. Well, it will. He'll probably come and rest eventually. But going against Gunner, I was expecting more from Gunner in the past, but they've just dropped the ball with him and they're putting him against him. I don't like it.
Eric Bischoff, please. You say your son is getting ratings, but look at this. You're putting him in places where ratings are going to be the our main event. The match itself, through in 3 minutes. Gunner dominated. Garrett Bischoff got the comeback win. No one gives 2 shits because Garrett Bischoff has already beaten him. Garrett Bischoff attacks him post-match, and they do a spark power driver spot on the floor, which means it's probably going to be off TV. Maybe that's for the best. Do I want to see this on TV anymore? No.
With this being wasted time, I think carrying him out the way for a while is going to do good for their show.
And this segment got time. This was the stupid thing. This segment got a lot of time, probably more time than the Angle Storm promo, which we got next. A massive thumbs down, in my opinion. But this next segment got a massive, massive thumbs up. I really enjoyed the interaction between James Storm and Kurt Angle. I really did enjoy it.
Well, it was definitely needed because they had this great build-up and it was leading to this and also their match at the pay-per-view.
And it's really developing James Storm's face character, isn't it? And, you know, you get Angle putting Storm over as a tough SOB, saying that if he hit someone else at the back of the head, he'd be out for 6 months, but he was back in 2 weeks, and how he's prepared. And Storm talking about how he's not 100%, but he's going to kick his ass at Final Resolution. He turns his back to him. You know, it was a really, really, really good segment, and they've done a lot of these.
And it was all the little things that make big things happen. And this was definitely one of the little things. All the little things they did in this, the little things they said, actually building up to something great at the pay-per-view.
Genuinely looking forward to this match a lot. Gail Kim versus Tracy Brooks was up next. With us already having a knockout segment, why couldn't this time have been devoted to, say, the X Division title, or the TV title, or heaven forbid, the RVD Daniels match we're going to get at the pay-per-view? Why did one of those three not get featured in the segments which were pointless tonight?
Well, this goes back to the whole Abyss thing. I think they're just... These two segments are hyping up something that's going to happen after the pay-per-view, possibly. And this is especially, you're going to have this whole Tracy Brooks and Karen Jarrett feud or something going on. I don't know what's happening there, but it was really pointless.
Number one, it's pointless, like you said. Number two, the way they booked this match made Gail Kim look stupid. And number three, why are you teasing this on the go-home show? It's the worst time you could possibly tease this, you know, especially before Gail Kim has a title match, and you're just making her look stupid, and she needs an interference of Madison Rayne to beat Tracy Brooks. Like, for fuck's sake, what the hell? Just the way they booked this segment, it just wasn't needed, and it made it even worse by the fact that the way they booked this segment and the way they booked Gail Kim.
I'm going to give it a thumbs down because Gail Kim, again, she's not looking that strong going into the pay-per-view, not really.
Thumbs down from me too. We then get a backstage segment which features Daniels talking about wanting a standard wrestling match at Final Resolution with RVD. You could have taken out the Garrett Bischoff, you could have taken out the Abyss segment, you could have taken out the Tracy Brooks segment and put in the X Division TV title and RVD Daniels in the ring, which actually has something relevant with the pay-per-view.
Well, with Daniel Bryan,
Christopher Daniels.
Christopher Daniels. He's good on mic, but obviously, as much as he's good on mic, he does need in-ring action to build up his characters, build towards the match.
Yes. And they also ran down the pay-per-view card. We got 8 matches, which was... And they went through each one, which was good, even though the whole RVD Daniels announcement at the last minute was a little bit stupid, but it should have got some in-ring time. Just problem with this show. Three matches just didn't get in-ring time when they should have had. Main event?
Main event.
The main event of the evening was Jeff Jarrett and Bobby Roode versus AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy. You know, this main event, I like the fact that main events have got a lot of time under Pritchard. This got about 10 minutes, which is about the kind of time you'd expect for a main event. Not sure about Jeff Jarrett being in the main event in 2012.
Well, all I can say about that is that the match between Hardy and Jarrett does get better because they do go off and do their own thing. So he's actually involved in the final segments.
Yes, you have 2 feuds in there. One which will essentially be a main event feud. One of them is the actual main event feud at the moment. It was a good match. They at the start of the match, I liked how they started brawling on the outside of the ring, the individual feuds. The match itself was well worked. You had Jarrett and Roode both working on AJ Styles' injured knee. And then, like you said, we had Jarrett and Hardy fighting backstage while AJ Styles and Bobby Roode were in the ring. And I liked how AJ Styles and Bobby Roode actually got some alone time in their segment to help hype their feud.
And the way it went off, you had the whole Hardy and Jarrett doing their own thing, hyped up their match in a way backstage. In the ring, quick AJ roll at 1, 2, 3. He's looking stronger into the pay-per-view. Yeah,
but after that, you have Bobby Roode coming in and attacking him.
That was needed.
That was a good way to end the show because you made your challenger look strong, and then you made your champion look strong, and that is the way a main event. It was a good, well-booked main event in my humble opinion.
And it does look because he went straight after his knee, which is obviously going to show his tactic going to the pay-per-view.
Yeah, so this gets a thumbs up from me.
Thumbs up,
despite the fact that Jeff Jarrett is there and Garrett Bischoff is in the main event. So even though they featured some pretty pointless shit, I'll tell you what, we'll talk about this in our overall thoughts. Let's go on to SmackDown, shall we? So SmackDown's openings lately have been very, very unique, and they've really changed the way they've been doing their openings, and it's really nice when every week you see a different way they open the show. This week they started off with Booker T being injured on the ramp, and then we get footage of Cody Rhodes attacking him from the backstage area, and then you have this whole thing with Rhodes. I mean, you know I'm a Cody Rhodes mark, so I was always going to love this, but then it teases the whole Cody Rhodes Booker T thing, and then you have Cody Rhodes joining the commentary team, and it was a really, really interesting way to start out the show with a mid-card feud.
Well, the thing I liked about this is you had the continuous of Booker T and Cody Rhodes at the beginning, Cody Rhodes on mic, and then him actually taking his place for what happens later in the night.
Yes.
I liked it. Good idea.
We also had the return of Lillian Garcia too. She didn't say much though, because my man Cody Rhodes interrupted and said no one gives a shit she was back, but secretly, I love Lillian Garcia.
We do indeed.
She's hot. And then, we have him filling the commentary position, and I'm like, oh, this SmackDown is going to be so awesome. Really good opener.
And within there, it leaves you questioning what's going to happen next. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, so in my opinion, a big, big, big thumbs up this opener. I really like the uniqueness of it and the way that SmackDown are changing their openers every week.
Thumbs up, indeed.
And they're featuring the Intercontinental Champion in the opener. That is a great way of booking your Intercontinental Champion.
Very true.
After that, we get this whole Beat the Challenge thing, don't we? Wade Barrett versus Ezekiel Jackson and Randy Orton versus Dolph Ziggler, which will be the main event in the Beat the Clock Challenge to see who can pick the stipulation for their match at TLC. The match is announced, I guess, now.
I like that, but it should have been announced by maybe Theodore Long announcing this whole Beat the Clock Challenge and why it's happening and that. Instead of it just happening.
Yeah.
Just my thought.
It could have been done in a backstage segment or something, or maybe at the beginning of the show.
Quick like that, yeah.
So Wade Barrett versus Ezekiel Jackson. This match went on for 7 minutes, 53 seconds. We have to be precise because this is a Beat the Clock. These guys have had a bit of history, I guess. They teased Ezekiel Jackson coming back with video packages. They haven't brought it back very well, but I guess this was probably the right way to book him against Wade Barrett. You have Wade Barrett winning in a decent amount of time, so yeah.
It was an okay match, a good match to open. You have Wade Barrett in the opener, which I'm not really going to complain about. Overall, it was an okay match. Yeah,
I mean, I did enjoy the fact they gave him mic time afterwards. They gave him a lot of mic time, which helps segments because it means he can talk about the match with Orton. He talks about moving up the card, going after the World Heavyweight Championship, and Orton being the only man in his way, and talking about that Barrett is the only voice in Orton's head. I enjoyed this segment a lot.
We had Cody Rhodes mic time, Wade Barrett mic time. So far, so good.
Yes, and it continued to get better actually. We were supposed to have an AJ Caitlyn versus Divas of Doom match, but this got taken out because the Caitlyn turned heel in this. But I think they took it out. Maybe they don't want to go with it now.
Well, as much as I was kind of disappointed that they had advertising didn't happen, at the same time, it's a replay match, which I'm kind of glad it didn't happen.
Yeah, true, and maybe they just don't want to go with it. I don't know. Who really knows? Maybe adding someone to Divas Doom could have been something good, seeing as they're up against 3 Divas anyway, but let's move on, because we can't judge the segment because it wasn't even there. We're talking about a segment that wasn't even on the show. Shows how much detail we go into on this Good and Bad of the Week podcast. Next segment, we had Josh Matthews interviewing Daniel Bryan. Something which should have been done like sort of continuously when he won Money in the Bank a couple of months ago. Not now.
I do agree. This we have a face commentator interviewing Daniel Bryan, not Michael Cole. So it's different there. You've got someone a bit more light, a bit more light-hearted to speak to Daniel Bryan, so it's something different.
And I enjoyed Daniel Bryan in these promo segments. I do think he has something on the mic, and especially when he starts getting intense. You have Michael Cole interfering. I do like the interaction between Cole and Daniel Bryan. I just wish he'd stop burying him so much as he's doing.
He's such a loser.
Yeah, I know you are.
No.
I got you there, didn't I? As soon as Daniel Bryan started to get more intense and started to really exclaim his words, I was actually really into the promo. And then you had Daniel Bryan going after Michael Cole, and I was thinking, go on, get him! And all of a sudden, my boy Cody Rhodes comes and saves the day for Michael Cole.
That's what I wanted to see, man. Cody Rhodes, because he did mention the whole, I beat Cody Rhodes to get my place, I earned my spot.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad Cody Rhodes put a full stop to that.
So you showcased your Money in the Bank winner in a promo segment and you set up a match later. So you're featuring Daniel Bryan on SmackDown twice, which is more than we can say for the last SmackDowns they have done.
Daniel Bryan needs his camera time leading up to WrestleMania whenever he's going to cash it in.
Even though it might be too late. They should have done this a while back, but we'll move on. That was a good segment in my opinion.
Thumbs up.
Next 2 segments we got were kind of fillerish, weren't they? We had Zack Ryder versus Heath Slater in a jobber match, which was done just to get Ryder on TV.
Pretty much.
You can't really judge the segment too much. It's just Ryder looking strong as he's going to have a match at the pay-per-view with Dolph Ziggler. I would have liked some interaction, but I guess we weren't going to get it until Raw.
No, I guess we still got a go-home show, so I guess they were saving all this kind of stuff for that show.
And then we had Jinder Mahal versus Ted DiBiase. They're trying to get Ted DiBiase over as a babyface. They're trying to make him win matches. I guess.
I really thought this was going to last for a few more weeks or possibly another month, just to give Ted something more to do. Because there's no one else really for Ted to face, but they got rid of it now, so whatever.
Or maybe they'll involve him with Cody Rhodes. Who knows? Maybe this is what they're trying to set up for. It seems kind of weird that they're ending this feud now, and then Cody Rhodes and probably Booker T is going to be a temporary thing. So they're probably going to set him up for that. Maybe, who knows? But they pretty much kind of ended this mini feud now. I don't think this is going to happen again. DiBiase wins via a roll up. It's just to get him over as a babyface, isn't it? This isn't going to be like pay-per-view worthy or anything. It's just helping DiBiase get over as a babyface, and they've really dropped the ball with him like a little bit. So this is good.
I agree.
You agree?
I agree.
How much do you agree?
It's just that I think Ted does deserve better, but obviously that's going to come after Jinder Mahal.
Yeah, and it's nice to see they're actually trying with him now. At least that's good.
Yeah.
Titanic Confrontation was our main event name today. We had Big Show coming out talking about doing the impossible, beating Lesnar at Survivor Series 2002, a DVD which we would very much recommend to you guys, a very good pay-per-view. Talking about becoming champion again. They're talking about the steel chair stipulation as well, which they put in there.
Well, he did add the fact that...
Oh, God, you just stop.
That's fit in somewhere.
Just stop with that, MJ. That gimmick is so overrated and done now. But then we get Mark Henry coming out.
Someone's going to get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be you if you continue doing that thing. But he basically comes out, and this is where I don't mind Mark Henry on the mic, but he starts asking for courtesy, and I'm just like, Mark Henry started saying, "Oh, to Big Show,
don't lay your hands on me."
Yeah, exactly. He started doing that, and it's like, wow, it kind of really teases that might even be turning him babyface at some point.
Well, to be honest, there's this whole thing that Mark Henry might be retiring soon, so I think, to be honest, they should keep him as a heel until he leaves.
Yeah, and he talks about he's definitely going to be 100% going into TLC, and they will have a great fight, and no doubt they will. And I do hope now. I think this is the perfect time to end the feud, especially with Kane returning soon.
Well, this should be a good round match. A clean winner at TLC would be needed.
And we have them also. They go at it in the ring for a little bit as well. Big Show hits Mark Henry with the chair, and it's a good. I mean, these two have had a good rivalry. So most segments with these guys are going to be pretty good because we know that they've got a good rivalry. We know these two have got good chemistry.
Great mic time, made the challenger look strong. I guess it's done its justice there.
Even though Mark Henry's character thing here was a little bit flawed,
slipped,
but it was still a good segment. Sheamus versus Otunga, another way of getting Sheamus on TV. While he's pretty much being filler at the moment, I guess.
The match I've been waiting for.
Otunga getting his ass kicked is always funny. 3 minutes. Hornswoggle is a special guest announcer. Why? Sheamus wins a quick match. I just wish they'd put him in a program, especially with him being one of SmackDown's biggest baby faces.
Well, maybe they'll do after TLC towards Royal Rumble.
Yeah, who knows? I just think they should have him really booked in a program going into another pay. Just so they continue his push, which is really good at the moment. Just stalling slightly. Next, we have Daniel Bryan versus Cody Rhodes. We've seen this match a couple of times before, but this was definitely better than the Raw match because you had Cody Rhodes consistently going after the ribs for 6 minutes, and that could have actually led to a win. I wouldn't have minded it too much. And we had the DQ finish, which I think was the right way to go, especially with it developing the Cody Rhodes Booker T storyline. You could say Daniel Bryan is filler, but he's been involved twice now on SmackDown, and he hasn't had to job, and he's got mic time. So
I'm kind of liking how the fact that whatever happened at the beginning of SmackDown has been built up to these matches and events later in the night. So that these two wrestling against each other was good. You have Daniel Bryan's character building up slowly in the match, looking strong against Cody. Cody having his going for the ribs, being clever-minded. I thought it was nicely done. Yeah, and we have Booker T interfering, causing the DQ. No one has to job. Storyline progression. Booker T got a nice pop. Featured Daniel Bryan twice, and we get the announcement later on that Booker T is going to have a match with Cody Rhodes at the pay-per-view for the IC belt. So big thumbs up there.
It definitely was a good segment to hype up the match at the pay-per-view. And we also had Ryder and Ziggler announced as well, which was good. We got 3 matches announced tonight. The third of which we'll talk about in this segment. The main event of the evening was Randy Orton versus Dolph Ziggler in the second of our Beat the Clock challenges. Orton and Ziggler in the main event of SmackDown. Interesting. US champion and probably biggest babyface of SmackDown.
And the good thing about it is, obviously, as this match was important, because it was going to determine what the match is going to be at the pay-per-view, Wade Barrett was to get involved again. Good thumbs up there. He
got involved and knocked down Orton, and this is one of the times where I feel that Orton's RKO out of nowhere kind of worked because he only had a couple of seconds to do it. And he got the win and before the time limit expired, and he got to pick the stipulation. But Wade Barrett wasn't having any of that, was he? Because he attacked him after the match. He was making sure that he laid down the law in this main event, wasn't he?
All I'm going to quickly say is that they're making the challengers on this SmackDown look strong. Big Show, Wade Barrett.
Yeah.
So I think they're doing their justice here and take down Orton. Big thumbs up there.
Yeah, Barrett goes to put him through a table, but then Orton comes back and Barrett backs off. You know, it was a good segment. Again, a good main event segment. The only thing I didn't like about this segment was the fact that Orton had to put Ziggler through a fucking table. Why? Was this needed?
Ziggler's had a lot of bad things happen to him. I guess this, right before he probably loses his US Championship, was just a horrible thing.
Yeah, it was just a really bad way to end what I thought was a good segment to hype a big feud which is going on at the moment, which is really, really putting Wade Barrett over a lot, and I'm liking it.
I'll give it a big thumbs up here, because even though the whole Ziggler thing was a thumbs down, the match, thumbs up.
Yeah, exactly. Overall thoughts then? End this second to last Good and Better of the Week podcast?
Yeah, we'll go into over thoughts.
Yeah. Okay, so NJ, please give me the shows in order of which you thought was best, middle, and worst, and say why, please.
Well, we're going to have SmackDown, because, again, that did good for the pay-per-view. The right guy, the challengers looked good. Then we have probably going towards TNA Raw. Both had segments that I liked, thumbs up, but I'm going to say TNA and Raw.
Yeah.
Just because I think Raw lacks some stuff.
Yeah, Raw definitely did lack a lot of, you know, the feuds. Although I like the way they feuded towards the WWE Championship, it just, Raw's really lacking something at the moment. I think the reason why is because they're writing it all at the last minute. And you can really, really tell, can't you? And it is affecting the shows a lot, isn't it? How they're rewriting these things at the last minute. And the whole fucking Ryder pinning Mark Henry was bullshit.
Again, they've got all these ideas floating around in their head, put it down on paper, they're just not putting it down correctly. So I think, to be honest, I miss Raw being good, but just this week it weren't.
Yeah, SmackDown. So SmackDown definitely for me was the better show, and for NJ too. TNA had good segments when they were related to the pay-per-view, but the problem is they had a lot of stuff in there that wasn't related to the pay-per-view, which kind of let the show down a lot. But Raw overall, while it was probably a little bit more entertaining than TNA, it didn't give me what I really wanted from a show this close to the pay-per-view. And the last-minute writing is really, really hurting the show. And I'm sorry, but it really, really is at the moment. So TNA and Raw, I think on par, both on par. Maybe TNA slightly better than Raw, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
Any last thoughts before we move on to another week?
No, that's it.
Okay then, guys. Make sure you watch our TNA Final Resolution pay-per-view review on Sunday. Get you any of your thoughts on WWE, TNA, ROH, any news reports or anything down in that comment section below. We want to hear your comments on This Week in Wrestling. And NJ, do what you do.
Please share your thoughts about this week we've had in the comment section below. Also tune in for our, obviously, Final Resolution. Hopefully you enjoy the pay-per-view. That has been it from the British Fist, which is Mr. Parkin and me, NJ. All I can say now, people, is thank you and goodbye.